Begin. Again, thank you again, District 98 candidates. Chuck, I'm going to hand it over to you as soon as, and if everybody who is congregating in different areas of the room could have a seat in order that we might respect our District 99 candidates that have graciously given up their time to be here tonight. So if you could just make your way to the center part of the room, it would be very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you very much. All right, Chuck.
Good evening. I am Candace Newell. I'm running for state representative for District 99. I have lived in District 99 my entire life. The home that I live in now, my parents purchased when I was 9 months old. I was educated in the Orleans Parish School System at Mildred Osborne Elementary. But I'm also a graduate from St. Mary's Academy, class of 96. I earned my bachelor's as well as my master's from Southern University at New Orleans. And I got my law degree from Southern University Law Center in Baton Rouge. While in law school, I had the opportunity to earn some experience working in the state legislature as an intern for the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus, as well as a legislative assistant in the state Senate. Hopefully I get to explain more of my platform and my issues as the evening progresses.
I grew up in the Baptist church out of the South. Good evening. I'm Jamil Shahir, lifelong resident of New Orleans. My grandparents grew up in the Tremades. My parents grew up here in the Ninth Ward. My dad went to Culver. My mom went to Clark. I wanted to play in that particular band, so my parents paid for me to go to St. Aug, play in the band, went to Dillard, degree in accounting. From Dillard, because my parents couldn't really afford for me to go to Dillard, somewhere in between I went to the Air Force. I worked in finance for the Air Force. After that, I came back, finished my degree at Dillard. I taught high school for 3 years at Booker Washington. Somebody thought I was kind of smart. Dr. Thornberry, who was the superintendent at the time, she said, go see Ronald Taylor over at Booker Washington. So she had me to teach biology, general science, algebra, intro to computers, and I was the assistant band director. But the trade-off was I didn't have morning duty or afternoon duty, so I was happy with that. While at Booker Washington, I got to know some of those students and some of those families. While there, my first year as a teacher, I was runner-up for Teacher of the Year. I had the most parents that ever came to report card conference night because I looked even younger then. So I sat in the desk, and I had parents come like, who is this Mr. Shahir? He got my child doing homework. I was like, yeah, who is this Mr. Shahir? Because I want to know who he is too. So I really got to know the students, I got to know the parents, I got to know the community at Booker Washington. And I love teaching. But my life kind of took a different story after my few years of teaching, and I actually went into corporate America and get my degrees in accounting. So I worked as an accountant. I was the accountant for the hockey team. If you guys remember the New Orleans Brass, I was actually the accountant for that. I was chosen by the ownership group to be their accountant. I worked as a subcontract. I worked on the budget when Governor Foster was in office. We worked on the education part of the budget. And then my life kind of took a different toll from there. I sold cars. I sold Hondas. I drove Hondas since I was 12, and I thought that would be kind of a great experience to do something that I actually believed in. Made a lot of money doing it. When my kids were growing up, and I'm a father of 5 girls. And so they was dancing, and they were doing all the things, so I had to, again, take a different turn. And then I went into, for the last 12 years, I've been a firefighter for the New Orleans Fire Department.
Thank you, sir. Chuck, I'm going to hand it back over to you to ask questions, but reminder to the audience, I know some of you handed in questions for District 98. Would you please do the same for District 99 by dropping them in the buckets if you have questions at any time? Those buckets are to the left and right side of the stage. And candidates, I'm going to ask you to use the microphone simply because this is recorded, and it helps for our recording for you to use the microphones, as well as consideration for those who may be impaired, audibly hearing impaired. It helps for them as well too. So if you could please just use the microphone in spite of your booming voices. All right? Thank you. Chuck.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use what you just said as a segue, a beautiful segue to ask this question that I was told that I asked. It says, what have you done in the community that has prepared you to run for office, specifically state representative? We'll start with you, Ms. Candace.
Asked this question earlier today. Part of my experience has been as a teacher. I taught first grade, and then I taught at the high school English language. Taught high school English language arts at an alternative high school that was located on Franklin Avenue. While I was working on my master's and working my way through law school, I was employed as a bartender. That opportunity, those jobs gave me the opportunity to engage with community residents, regular, everyday folks like myself, not your basic, you're not your run-of-the-mill politicians, not all community leaders, but I spoke with everyone. I had a chance to interact with everyone. So I had the opportunity to talk, listen, figure out what their issues, what their concerns were in their community. And listening and being amenable to the public, being available and approachable, I believe will help me when I am elected, because people will feel comfortable with me then, just as they feel comfortable with me now, and as they have felt comfortable with me in the past, to sit and talk to me about the issues that they are facing, as well as give me what I will seek, give me advice, and give me their ideas on how to fix the problems that they are seeing. And just my ability and my willingness to sit and to talk and to listen and to take advice will help me in the office of state representative.
Since I have to use the mic, as an educator, I got to see education from the inside. I got to work with wonderful teachers. I got to work with wonderful administrators, and I got to see education from the inside, from the students' standpoint. Some of my students who were my students at Booker Washington are my friends now because they've grown, and they call me and they say, hey, I'm doing this now. I'm in Switzerland. One of my students is now a doctor. He said he was a doctor because of my biology class. I don't think so, but that's what he said. So we're gonna go with that. So I've seen education from the inside. As a small business owner, as an accountant, I've seen New Orleans from a corporate America side. I did audits for the Flamingo Casino when it was here. So I got to see that side of New Orleans also. As a public servant, I got to see a whole different side of New Orleans, and I got to serve in a different capacity. So being able to see it from, as an educator, being able to see it from corporate America, and being able to see this from a public servant kind of hones in on everything that we're doing, that we have done. So you ask, like, what are some of the things that we're doing? So we're not waiting till we get to office to do some of these things. We have a reading program now that we're taking. We have 25 Tier 1 readers, and we're bringing them to on-grade level readers. So by December, our 25 readers, our Tier 1 readers, will be on-grade level readers. In January, we'll start with another 25 until we can make sure that all of our kids are on grade level. And again, those are things that we're doing now. We're not waiting till we get to office. I don't know why 25 is the number. But we also have a housing program that we identified 25 people who are on subsidized housing, and we're going to make them, we're training them and making sure that they have everything that they need. 19 of them, I think was the last number, by February, 19 of them will be homeowners, and we are going to make sure that they're able to sustain their housing through this program that we have put together with just volunteers. Like, no one is getting paid, no one has agreed to take any money. It's just people who have volunteered because I said, hey, let's do this because we need it. I also have a handshake agreement with about 15 different landlords that we're all saying that we're going to keep our rents affordable. We have 2-bedroom, 1-bath that we rent for $750, and they're not and they're not run down. These are clean. These are safe. For all of my units that I have as rentals, we put solar panels on the top so that their light bills can be lower. We didn't raise their rent. So these are things that we are doing now, and I want to take those things that we're doing now and bring them to Baton Rouge so that I can further help those 44,000 people that we have in our district.
I'm sorry, Pastor. So, with the earlier group, we had a question about criminal justice reform, and so I'm going to ask you guys about criminal justice reform as well. But I'm going to ask the question slightly different. We've been making some strides in this state by acknowledging that there is a problem, and we've gotten some good results. Well, I shouldn't. That's my opinion. And now we're seeing the prison population is beginning to subside. And I want to know, do you believe, since the prison population is subsiding, is that because we're letting too many guilty people out? Or do you think that we've made some good strides, but we still have a long way to go before we get the criminal justice thing right?
I do think that we are making great strides at decreasing the prison population, and I think that's for a number of different reasons. One, I think when I sit in the meetings with Commander Young and Commander Dupree, they're saying that we're, for lack of a better phrase, we're decriminalizing some of the offenses. So some things that they may have gone to jail for, they can just write a summons for, they can write a citation for, so that we're not putting people in jail for things that, again, that they could just show up to court for, and that they could just show up for court and we not have them taking up spaces in the jail. And again, I think there's still a lot that we can be doing.
I was saying that we've made strides in the criminal justice reform. One of the positive results we're seeing is that the prison population is being reduced. And I was asking, do you think the prison population is we're reducing that because we're letting too many guilty people out of prison? Or do you think that we've made some strides, but we still have a long way to go to reach the goal?
I do not believe it's because we're letting guilty people out. I believe it's some of the programs that have been put in place. I had the opportunity to be introduced to the VERA program when I clerked for Judge Cantrell. I never knew a program like that existed, but I was happy that it was there because I noticed that it gave opportunities to first-time offenders and offenders who had misdemeanors or offenses that would have called for a low bond. It allowed them to be released on RR or to be placed on programs where they would just have to follow up with the court, come in with a progress report monthly, speak with the judge monthly, and then to keep, to show that they were on track. I believe it's programs like that that help with the adult as well as the juveniles. I also worked in the juvenile prison system as an intake specialist, and there was a program quite similar to Vera for the juveniles, which you put them on a ranking, kind of like a ranking system to determine whether or not they went to the detention center or whether they went home, or if they were placed as well on a kind of outside sourced program. And I believe it's programs like that which are keeping the prison population down, as well as the fact that a lot of things have been decriminalized. Not too long ago, the amount of marijuana that a person has on their person they weren't arrested for that. They were given a citation for it, or it was passable if it was just enough for personal use, like a joint. They weren't brought into jail, and I believe it's things like that. I do. It's going to happen. They're going to use it, and we need our police to focus on why is my car being broken into? Why are so many people getting killed? I would rather them focus on that than someone recreationally smoking marijuana.
My next question is, what's your position on the charter school system?
My position on the charter school system is, as long as it is providing what our children need, if it's giving access to quality education from talented and certified instructors, I'm fine with the charter school system. I don't care what system is in place, as long as it's the absolute best for our children. As long as it's giving the teachers the resources that they need to be successful in the class, to put out successful students, I don't care what system is in place.
Well, New Orleans has been almost, I guess it's the first city that's completely chartered. And so it's not a new thing. So we don't have to talk in terms of ifs, but the charter school thing is here. So what do you think it's a good thing? Or do you think that, no, it's, the public school system was undermined and it caused more problems? What's your position on that? You don't want to answer that?
Oh, I think as long as it's giving the best to the students, I'm good.
No, but I'm saying that it's like the way you say, well, long as it does this. I'm saying, well, what do you think it's doing? It's already been happening.
Parents I've interacted in, most of them don't have a problem with the charter school system. They believe that it's fine. It's giving their children opportunities. It's educating their children. I don't have a child in a public school system, so I can't personally say, oh yeah, this charter school is absolutely great. There are some flaws. I believe every system has something that needs to be tweaked about it. I don't know what it is, but the parents that I've interacted with, they don't have any complaints on the charter school system.
As a parent of 7 in the charter school system, I've looked at Act 91, and we've combed through it to see where we could probably make some amendments to it. Get rid of it. We've looked at Bulletin 126. We've seen where we could try to make some corrections, amendments to it. We can't. Get rid of it. Charter schools are experimenting with our children. One year we have a curriculum, the next year we have another curriculum. In my small business, I do embroidery. I did embroidery for a lot of the schools, and I had to stop doing embroidery for the schools. One school, 5 years, they'd have 4 different administrators, and I don't think either one of them were teachers. Get rid of it. So Act 91, Bulletin 126, it's got to go. It is not good for our kids.
Let me just ask this, Mr. Shahir, real quick. Is that a piece of legislation that you're willing to introduce once you get to Baton Rouge, that we begin to remove the charter school system?
We have 5 bills that we're ready to go, and repealing Act 91 is definitely one of them.
All right, as a moderator, I'm going to ask a follow-up question to this. Because when I was on the radio, people always get angry when I would have this response. So me personally, I don't like the charter system either, right? But a lot of times, sometimes we would have, so I think some people had amnesia, and they would try and act as if the charter school system just came along and undermined a perfectly good system. Now, I don't believe that. So my question to you is, you say get rid of it, and so when you say we want to get rid of it to go back to the system we had, or we want to get rid of it and go to what?
Well, what first we want to do is we want to return all of the schools back to the Orleans, it's now NOLA public schools. So we want to return all of those schools back to that thing. And then we have to incorporate accountability and responsibility, not only from the administrator, not only from the school system, but from the parent and the student. So of course, it's going to have to be tweaked some, but the first step is to get rid of the charters and to return our schools back to our school system.
Okay. So the next question is, do you think the reforms President Trump signed into action has trickled down and is now, I'm sorry, but who wrote this? What'd you say?
Hi, my name is Michelle. Do you think that the reforms that President Trump signed into action has trickled down and now bumped what Bobby Jindal put into place, which is now allowing more domestic violence perpetrators off due to the city level rewriting those very laws?
So basically, the city level rewrote the law that Jindal put into place, but Trump reformed the entire domestic violence law. I don't know if y'all know about that.
I'm not familiar with,
Okay.
could you
What
give this a
President
minute?
Trump did, Louisiana recently received about $10 million in domestic violence reform. The Justice Center here in New Orleans received $10 million. So what they did was, President Trump took a lot of things out of it. So you can basically be strangled, and it's not considered attempted murder if you're not in a domestic relationship. So I can strangle her, or attempt to strangle her, and it's not attempted murder because we're not in a relationship. So Trump changed it. And Bobby Jindal wrote it, so it was a well-written law. But when the city of New Orleans got it, they changed it to fit Trump.
So, Michelle, your question is again, what directly?
The direction is, are they familiar with it, and do they think that the reform that Trump did is more justified with the city of New Orleans on New Orleans' level? Jindal did his job. Trump reformed it, and New Orleans did when Trump's method versus Jindal. It's a lot of things that when Jindal was in office, he put into place with different laws in Louisiana.
All right. I think are we clear?
Are you clear?
Okay, so let me see if I am.
I would just say this, I think it's a question that I don't think they're familiar with it. I'm not that familiar with it either.
We did have a statute where if you live with someone,
That's domestic violence.
you have that domestic violence, and you have post-separation domestic violence now, where you can, but I don't know.
Well, maybe we can just brief ourselves on that, maybe the next meeting we can.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go to
We
the
need
next
some
question.
clarity. And let's say, Chuck, we got 2 minutes to finish
Okay.
this up too.
Oh, well,
It's
people-
6:36.
Okay, well, we're gonna make this real quick. Since y'all are from the ninth board, right? Okay, what would you work hard to make the industrial canal lack expansion go away?
Yes. I would, work to make the lock expansions go away because I believe that the community, the Lower Ninth Ward community has gone through enough loss. With the expansion, you're gonna lose more neighborhoods because you're expanding. So you have to take away more land to expand on that present project. You got to dredge up. There's studies and tests that's been done over the years that show that that sediment has cancer-causing agents in it. And then it has to be moved. So as in moving, we're breathing it in. Then when it's moved, it's going to go into an area where we already have kind of a fragile area. It's supposed, because it's supposed to go to on the coastal lines. So that marine life there is going to be at danger, and then it's going to put a danger on the land that we keep losing every year. The original project did not do what it said it was going to do, which it was supposed to create a large-scale industrial development along the banks and create all these jobs. It didn't. So I don't know how an expansion now would do that when it didn't do it originally, when a community was thriving.
Thank you, Mr. Well. Thank you.
From my understanding of the lock situation, and I've sat in a few meetings, again, from my understanding of my meetings, that the Corps of Engineers, this is a done deal. The Corps of Engineers have funding for it. They have all of the boxes checked. They have everything that they need for this thing to already happen. Now, they're saying it may not happen in my lifetime, but it's going to happen. So it's not a matter of okay, just us banding together saying we don't want it. They don't care that we don't want it. They're saying they're going to do it whether we want it or not. So again, we have 5 bills that's ready to go. So one of those bills is to find mitigation money for when they dredge up those toxins and we start breathing those things in. You need to have money to go to the doctor. You need to have money to correct those problems. The other part of that is the mitigation money. So when they start piling those pilings, somebody's house is going to shift, the sheetrock is going to crack, and they need to be made whole when those things when they're finished happening, when the dust settles. So that's what we're looking at. Because from my understanding, I don't know if it can be stopped, because the Corps of Engineers, they have a large group behind them and lots of money, and this project is already funded. And I wish I could tell you the day that it was funded and the exact dollar amount. I have it, but I don't have it with me, and I apologize. But the thing for me is to just find mitigation to make everybody that's affected by it whole.
Thank you, Mr. Sheriff. I do want to caution you, when we're sitting in a room full of justice fighters, we don't take no for an answer. When we hear that it can't be done, it can't be stopped, we tend to get riled up and then really band together to say we're going to make this stop and demand that it stops before people are completely just wiped out again when this happens. So we just get fired up. And so we welcome you to get fired up with us so that injustice does not continue to happen. With that said, can we go to some closing remarks, Chuck? Is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to close up. So 1 minute on each.
Again, I'm Candace Newell, running for state representative for District 99. I really want to thank you all for the opportunity to come and speak. I've had the opportunity to meet several of the members, and I admire your passion behind the issues that you find. The starting up when you thought that Justice Johnson wasn't going to make it in, that start was great, and I'm glad you did not disband after that and saw that there were other issues that were facing this city, and you kept the fight up. I appreciate it, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Newell.
It's Jamil Shahir, District 99. We've been doing this for 11 months, and as I look around the room, like Mr. Don, Rev, Ms. Sylvia, I've sat in meetings. I sit in Mr. Pat. I'm sorry, I didn't use Mr. Pat, and I appreciate all the work that you guys done. Like I feel like I've met President Obama just sitting in this room with some of the people that's in here. So I appreciate the things that you've done. I appreciate you allowing me to come and speak some more and to hear some more, to hear concerns. And I'm definitely going to look some more about those reforms and find some answers and find out some more stuff. So again, Jamil Shahir, I appreciate you guys, everything you've ever done and allowing us to come in and just share our platform with you. Thank you.
Everyone show your gratitude for these candidates. And for Mr. Chuck Perkins, we appreciate you so much. And candidates, we just want God to bless you in your campaigning, and may God take you wherever He wants us to go. And know that we're behind you and want to see you back at Justice and Beyond as we meet every Monday at 4:45. Come and join us again, and we'll give you a time to speak at the end of every meeting that you show up for. All right? All right, very good. God bless you and all that you do. Listen, everybody, we've got a presentation that we want to do real quickly, honoring some folks, as we often like to do at Justice and Beyond. So with that said, if y'all can stick around, that's fine. If you can't, we understand as well too. But I want to hand the microphone over to Mr. Pat Bryant and Mr. Ron Chisholm. We are so delighted that these amazing justice fighters are in the house, these legacies, and so glad to be able to stand on their shoulders. Y'all, we're going to keep it rolling, and hopefully the rain is still subsided, so we're going to get y'all home soon, but we need to hear about legacies that have been very formidable for us in this city. So with no further ado, Mr. Ron and Mr. Pat.
Hey, Brother Happy, is that back there? Yeah, you know Brother Jack, come on, Jack on. You like it? Look closer, right? I can't see you back there.
Come out of the shadows.
I know you just kind of having a conversation, but y'all both come a little closer. I want to tell you about somebody that can inspire, to inspire us a little bit, you know. Won't be long, a couple of minutes.
Hi, I'm Pat Bryant, and I had the pleasure, along with Ron, of working with probably one of the most influential white people that was affiliated in the civil rights movement. Her birthday is a couple of days from now. And that person is Anne Braden. Probably not many people around the South knew her before around 1956, when she and her husband, Carl, sold a house, at least bought a house, for a black family that they couldn't buy. And this was unheard of at that time for white people to work along with black people to buy a house in a white neighborhood. And as soon as that house was in the hands of the black family, there were bomb threats, rocks thrown in the windows, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, the family went through hell. But Anne Braden and her husband went through hell too. Because at the same time, this country was set on trying to divide white people from the black struggle. So the white people who were progressive were called, what's the word they called them? Communists. And they charged Anne and her husband for sedition. And of course, Carl got, he landed in jail for about 9 months until the Supreme Court heard his case, overturned it. But the point is, it was a hard time through there. And she emerged Ann and Carl both emerged as Southerners who were not only fighting their situation, but they fought the situation of black people. And they were very close with people like Martin Luther King and A. Philip Randolph. And Ann was not to be, she's very, when she was on an issue, she was on it. And sometimes people would say, well, that's something we can't fight. But Ann would write an epistle. Usually you would get them, they would be about 8 or 9 pages, single space. And every argument that you could think of was in those. Ron got them, I got them, because we were on the board of the Southern Organizing Committee for Economic and Social Justice. She had several organizations before then. Before then was the Southern Conference Educational Fund, SCEF, which had an office here in New Orleans, which in the 1950s, our state Attorney General Rainich attacked them, took their records, got them charged. Jim Dombarski, who was head of it, charged with something or other, I forget exactly now, but which was a battle they had to fight, and there was a big Supreme Court case on that. Ann was tireless. She worked 18 hours a day, and her pleasure was, what was that? Was Old Crow? And she carried a fifth of Old Crow around with her. Early times, that's what it was. Early times. Everywhere she went, and she was always traveling, she carried a fifth of early times, and she smoked continuously. It was so bad that I drove back with her from New York to Kentucky one time. After about an hour, I said, Ann, hold on. We're going to have to stop when you smoke. That was the longest road trip I ever had. I could not take it. But she was a genuine person. And if it were not for Ann, a lot of struggles that we engaged in would not have come out right. She was able to mobilize people to Decatur. When the Ku Klux Klan attacked Joe Lowry, and her and assisted getting white folks out. And we were able to march 3,000 people in Decatur, Alabama in 1979. A few months later, the Ku Klux Klan attacked justice fighters in Greensboro and killed 5 people there, killed 5 of my friends. And had the federal government had given them pictures of people, about 37 pictures, and my picture was one of them. I just happened not to be there that day. But she was a person who was not afraid and was strategic. And she was a John Brown kind of a white person. She was not trying to lead black people, but she was building support for black struggles. So I'm not going to say any more. Ron?
I have a couple of things, Pat. Let me say, I appreciate you starting it off, Pat, because I kind of forget about things, but Ann Braden was a white woman who was an organizer and an activist. But Ann Braden was somebody that relates to Justice and Beyond. And I don't know all the groups out here, but Ann Braden had something to do with y'all in the room there, and some of those candidates that just left, and I think they have some still here, right? Some of the candidates still here. And even as we, because, so Ann is not like somebody's gone. she affected, like Pat and I, we worked together for years before Justice and Beyond, right? I don't know how many years. And all over the country fighting against injustice. Ann was a white woman. What I learned from her so much was that I worked at an organization called the People's Institute. We show people how to deal with racism effectively, and because a lot of folks are talking about racism and equity, but there's confusion what that really means. And even in the black community, there's confusion about racism. Is that clear? Even in the black community, there's confusion. Because everything shows in the black community, we still at the bottom, white folks at the top, and everybody can fit in where they can get in. Does that make sense? Give me a little head shake. Because sometimes we can't get our head right because the dominant culture is in our neck. And we got to work hard to get it out of our neck in a rhythmic way. So what we talking about Ann, we're not talking about a person that's died. Ann is someone that has to do with y'all in the room, us around here, and Justice and Beyond. And Ann helped start out, we started an organization in 1980, where Ann and a man named Reverend C.T. Vivian were the parents of our organization. We met in Atlanta at Reverend C.T. Vivian's house. And what I love about Ann Braden was that we used to sit down and drink together. I had my refreshments and she had her refreshments. And we leave it at that. And we would argue about, I would tell Ann she can't get white folks involved. And I'd get 20 of them involved. And we would argue about that. And one day she couldn't get them out. And so I told you that, Ann. And so she got a little attitude. So we loved each other. But what's key about Ann that I learned, Pat, Ann worked with anybody. She worked with the Communist Party. Because they used to have me believing the Communist Party was the worst party in the world. And I never knew nothing about the Democrat nor Republican. I said, can't be no worse than that. So I learned how, she taught me to work with, just because somebody have a different ideology don't mean you can't work with. And Ann worked with anybody that's trying to make a difference. Not people that's unprincipled, but anybody who's trying to make a difference. It took me a long time to work with everybody. But now, because of the way she taught, I've learned how to work with people, and I learned how to work with networks, and also I learned how to build a network. But Ann was so strong, like every civil rights leader knew Ann, respected Ann. I mean, folks who are from Dr. King, I mean, they all knew Ann Braden. And she sit like, you look at her and say, what can she bring to the table? Well, she can bring a lot to the table. She brought a lot to the table. She enhanced Pat and I with so much knowledge, it's unbelievable. And I'm saying this to Justice and Beyond, Pat, because we can learn from her. And what I mean by that is that Justice and Beyond has a history in this city, is giving leadership and willing to hit them streets. Would you agree? A lot of people they want to talk about doing community work inside their house. But I've seen y'all hit the streets consistently. And we got to go back to what we've done best. Is that right, Pat, Justice and Beyond? We need to strategize on how to do that recruiting and make sure we make sure that African Americans at the helm of this, and that we got a large base of folks. And I'm saying this to say that I don't want to talk in the abstract like Ann to somebody over there. It has to do with what's going on right now, the work that we all do in this room. Because even in this room right now, we all believe in doing community work. Is that true? Yes. In the room. And you come to these gatherings, which is important, and I hope you're a member of, because if you're not a member, then it's good you keep coming, but you also have to be a member here. And the question we'd ask folks in the room that Ann always told me, if you're concerned about community, how involved are you all in the community, in this room? Or do you go to every meeting by yourself, yet you want other folks to build their base? Let me explain that, say it again. Even in this room, when we talk about community, can you get community to come out when you call them? And when you get them to come out, can you develop them? And once you get them involved and develop them, can you go leave? If somebody kidnapped you, will the work you've done and your base you brought together will still be carried on? Because if you come into every meeting, which we're very glad folks are here, you got to bring people with you. Because you can't be the unique, magnificent one. You got to bring a base, because you're talking about other people having a base, and all those politicians that came here today ought to be talking about racism straight up. They ought to be able to articulate that, because that's what throws them off. You know, not the issues, because they're issue bound. They love issues. Call it the issue syndrome. They love to work on issues. So that ain't going to get them. The thing going to get them when you start talking about race, including people of color, you're going to find a little bit better where they at, in our experience. So what we're saying that Ann taught us, who was an activist and worked with international groups all over the world, groups called SANE, environmental groups, climate groups, when it wasn't fashionable, talk about these kind of issues. Ann was involved with them right all over this country. And I think, Pat, for you and I think she outgrounded us in many, many ways. I think we brought our ability, our own skill, but Ann was one of the few white women at the time talking about racism and was not afraid to talk about it, and didn't talk about it in certain companies and certain groups. So is that fair to say?
That's true. And, you know, I think one of the things that separated her from other anti-racist white people was she said, we cannot lead black struggles. You know, her position was white people could not lead black struggles, but should support black leadership. And that's a very, and we still struggle against that, because a lot of people come to us, or come in our communities, and they can't lead in their communities, and they come and want to lead us. And I've never seen an effort where you have whites, progressive whites, leading a black cause, a black struggle.
The white savior syndrome?
It doesn't work.
And again, we talk about Ann, but not Ann in the abstract. It relates to us in the audience, as well as just in the beyond. And may ask folks like in the room here, have you ever called a meeting at some time in your life and hardly nobody ever show up? Who's ever done that a couple of times? What about 3 times? Now, the question is that, is something wrong with the people you invited, or is something wrong with you?
Both ways.
You see, there's a tendency to blame the people, but if you blame the people, you're perpetuating the same thing everybody else is doing. You got to tell yourself the reason why they're not coming out, because you've been ineffective in knowing how to get them out. That's a different way to look at it. That means you got to attack them, because you want them to come out, then you got to find a way to get them out. And we asking folks, even in the audience, that when you come, like you can come and critique and say this ought to happen, but ask yourself, when the last time you called a meeting and got 10 people out? Because you can get 10 folks to come out to the meeting, but the same 10 people you got out will beat you up. And talk about you, say you stole the money. Or you going with so-and-so. But that's the work we got to do, is that correct? Because we can't talk community and don't want to develop the community. So our challenge that Ann told me is that if you're in the room, see that's what's so powerful about Just and Beyond. People come in because they got a base. Other for that, why people come out? To see Pat? To see the co-moderators? Is that the reason? What? No. You come out because you know there's going to be some community people in this base. And if that's true, then you got a responsibility and a duty to bring some of that network with you here. Then your voice becomes much stronger when you talk. If you're only talking by yourself all the time, that becomes a problem. And you go to everybody else's meeting, but don't have your own meeting. So that's what Ann taught us. I know to get at that time, Pastor. I just want to say, I just want to, Pat, you may want to add something. I don't know if okay, because I guess I didn't want to talk about Ann in an abstract, because it wouldn't be, because that's not what Ann was about. Ann has something to do with how we operate in this room on a daily basis. So I'm going to stop you, Pastor.
No, that's good. That's good. We so greatly appreciate both of you, and not only the work that you do, but just reminding us of Ann and what she did, and lest we ever forget whose shoulders we're standing on. And I echo what you said, not in the abstract, but very much in the present. So in the present, can we just take 30 seconds of a moment of silence just in remembrance of Ann Braden? Can we do that, please? Thank you. We remember Ann Braden tonight. Thank you both very much for giving us that opportunity to learn and to be educated and to learn how we need to move forward as well with that great example. Give a hand for Mr. Ron Chisholm and Mr. Pat Ryan, these valiant warriors.